everybody, Fantasticairy here, back with another video. First, I just want to share with you what I've been working on since the last video. Now that it's spring and most of the snow has melted away, a lot of the vegetation is starting to bud, and we're starting to see a lot of our birds that we get in these areas, which I wanted to paint on this page. That includes the northern flicker in the far left corner, and then we got the New World warbler, we got the robin of course, the boreal chickadee, and the northern cardinals. And in the center page, some mushrooms. Where I live, there's a lot of mushroom growth here, and a lot of edible mushrooms. I believe the ones that I painted are all edible. That's the puffball mushroom on the left. In the middle, bear's headtooth mushroom. I've yet to find this one in the wild. And hen of the woods. I believe I've seen a couple of these. And to complete the page, a blue wood aster, some milkweed, we get that around here for the monarchs, cardinal, a wild bergamot, and a marigold. Overall, I really enjoyed how this page came together, the colors, and it's very fresh. With the weather warming up and things actually starting to feel like spring, it just gets me excited to paint more nature in the future. I also have one last little thing to share with you guys before we get on to the process part of this video. It's Artist Loft, so it's more of an affordable brand, but these were a lot cheaper than the Winsor & Newton or the Holbein gouache set, which I would love to purchase in the future, but right now I wanted to stick with what was affordable in my budget. And my paintbrushes, I actually went with some acrylic paintbrushes. So these are also Artist Loft. They're shaders and the filbert in the center. I prefer flathead brushes when it comes to painting with thicker paints. So here are all the colors: carmine, cobalt violet, primary yellow, cadmium red, primary magenta, ultramarine blue, primary cyan or cayenne, emerald green, yellow ochre, burnt umber, ivory black, and of course the Chinese white. And I started off by painting some grassy patches. I went headfirst and just painted patches and layered on my grasses and whatnot. I would say I'm satisfied with the result, but I definitely have a lot of practice ahead of me. But the overall page is bright, inviting, and I just love how bold gouache colors can be. It excites me for the future, so stay tuned for some gouache painting process videos. I will also share with you guys some of my earlier gouache paintings that I did when I was first starting to learn, but that'll be in a future video. I really like the bright greens and kind of mixing the greens to get the colors I wanted, adding in the darker patches, and adding little flecks of flowers. But yeah, here's the full page spread of what I've been up to lately. I think I'm almost halfway complete in the sketchbook, and I'm really excited about that, because once I'm done, I'll be sharing a sketchbook tour with you guys. Definitely something to look forward to. Anywho, on to the process video. The other day, my boyfriend and I had to go to town for an appointment, so we had some time to kill. I decided I was going to paint the boardwalk. It was slightly an overcast, sunny day, but I felt it was a good practice to start doing some plainer painting. Painting in the car because the wind was a little chilly outside. Starting off with the brightest colors, the lightest colors, would be the sky and the clouds. The clouds had this funny kind of bumpy look to them that day. So I just kind of went ahead and carved out the composition for the sky, leaving some negative space for the clouds, adding a little bit of gray, very conceptual. I was more so going for believability versus realistic. And then again, painting my layers in, so I did the sky, now I'm gonna do the water, leaving room in between the sky and the water for the other side of the canal and the boardwalk. And then here's the other side of the canal. I started off by painting in this brown for the trees that I go back and kind of desaturate, and then I take it and I just bring it across, and here I am just kind of lining it up a little bit. Now I'm going to start adding in some buildings, keeping it very kind of loose and sketchy looking. I kind of challenge myself a little bit into just using this one paintbrush for the overall look. I do end up going back and taking my 0.5 tiny round brush to detail in some final details. I think the look of it is very stylistic and I like how it feels. I kept the buildings mostly kind of a grayish color. I didn't want them to be too saturated in the background. And then of course here I am adding in the in-between, the boardwalk. I believe it's called a boardwalk. It's kind of in between the canal and the other side of the canal. I've actually walked down it before. And as you see, I've added in the bridge in the background. And now I'm going to add in a little bit of some wavy look to the water. And now we're going to start adding in the grass in the foreground. I believe, oh wait, no, this is called the boardwalk. I apologize. Adding in the sidewalk, And I kind of took some artistic privilege, and instead of making the poles white, because it's watercolor, I didn't bring my wash paints with me, I made them brown. So I changed up the scene a little bit. I think making the poles brown was a good idea because it's more darker for the foreground and easier to distinguish what it is. Being very gentle with my shader brush, making sure that I kind of get the overall shapes of them, keeping them semi-even between each other, and then I go in and start adding in the kind of railings in between. And then I'm going to add in a little tree in the foreground. There's actually a couple more trees, but I decided to just go with one tree to not make the foreground too busy. Here I am using my 0.5 round brush to detail in those branches. Adding in the tree gives this picture a little bit more character, and I'm glad that I did add it in. And then of course we got to make sure we detail in a little bit of grass. It's a very small painting, so I didn't detail too extremely. I definitely wanted to make sure that the foreground details had a little bit more detail than the background details. And here's the final result. I really like how it turned out, very conceptual looking. I took my artistic privilege and changed up some different characteristics to the scene originally, making the boardwalk brown instead of the white poles. And I did move around some of the buildings. I minused a couple trees, just added in the one tree. Overall, I'm kind of satisfied with it. It was a quick painting. I think it only took me about 10 minutes to paint. That includes the filming. The filming kind of slows the process down a little bit. I was worried about how the clouds would look, but I think they're one of my favorite parts of the scene next to the bridge. It's kind of just one of those small, tiny thumbnail paintings that kind of, if you squint your eyes, it still puts out the believability of the scene. We actually had some more time to kill, and there was this pigeon I wanted to paint, and I just wanted to fill the top left corner of this page on that day for memory's sake. I find pigeons to be very comical. Here he is just kind of waddling around. They have very pretty colors. It's actually funny because the colors of the pigeon almost matched the boardwalk painting that I did, so I thought that was really cool. So I incorporated all the little square palette color marks, and it gives it kind of an illustrative feel to the sketchbook page. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it did definitely kill some time. Again, just kind of quick paintings and very sketchy, very conceptual. I'm not sure what I'm going to fill the rest of this page with, but that will be something I share with you in next week's video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Videos are every Friday, and if you want to find me on social media, links are in the description below of the video, as well as my imprint shop, where you can purchase some mini prints and stickers of some of my artwork that I've done in this sketchbook, including my full illustrations. This is the Watchful. But yeah, definitely go check out the imprint shop if you're interested in purchasing my artwork. Link in the description below. I think that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It was a lot of fun to share this with you. More to come in the future. I'm thinking maybe next week, I'm not sure, no promises, but it might be a gouache painting video, as I do want to practice more with gouache and eventually be able to incorporate gouache and watercolor together to create full illustrations and possibly other mediums as well. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching again. Okay, bye-bye.